what's shaking, everybody? Hey, it's me. It's Alex. It's a special edition of Football with Friends. I'm inside the orange-framed mainframe. It feels different. It feels good. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That's Alex Dunlap of OrangeBloods.com and Roster Watch. This is Orange Bloods Live, and this is the special Kobe Black announcement show taking over Football with Friends. We figured we'd just start at 4 o'clock. And me and Alex would hold it down, and we'd talk some Kobe Black, talk some Texas football, recruiting, stuff going on in the portal. Jason Sucel is live in Waco. He will join us at some point. They do not have wireless internet for the school at Waco Connally, so we'll see how easy it is.
We'll see how much of Jason we get here on this thing.
We might get him on dial-up at some point. Once the decision is made, Adam Gorney from Rivals.com, national recruiting analyst, will join us for his reaction of the decision. Do us a solid as you come in while the water is getting warm. Hit the like button. Smash that bad boy. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Get notifications for reasons exactly like this when breaking news occurs and a borderline 5-star prospect, a super blue chip prospect at that, announces his decision and we go wall-to-wall coverage, you'll get the heads up that it's going down. Mr. Dunlap, how are you doing today on this Kobe Black announcement day?
I'm excited as everybody else, man. We're here to have some fun, man. I can't wait, dude. Look at the chat; it's already blowing up, man. So happy to see everybody here again. Like Ketch said, for every like and every subscription that we get during the show, that's 1 extra percentage point higher that Kobe Black picks Texas. So I'd get him in before 420 if I were you, if you're interested in getting them on board, for sure.
That's more important than what I was going to say, which is that every time you hit the like button or subscribe to the channel, an angel gets its wings.
They don't care about no angels.
Who cares about the angels out there? This is about getting Kobe Black to Texas. Who is Kobe Black? You may be asking. You may not be one of these guys that has his mouth on the exhaust pipe of the recruiting ecosystem that knows every single thing that happens at all times with every single player. Well, let's tell you a little bit about Kobe Black, the cornerback out of Waco Connally. He's a big kid. He's not one of these little corners, Alex. He's not one of these guys that you look at from a frame standpoint and wonder, hey, would Nick Saban want that kid to play for him? Or how about Kirby Smart? He's listed at 6'1", 180 pounds. When you see him in a uniform, he fills it out. He looks a part of a bad MF. He does look like the guy that God drew up as the prototype for a potential one-day NFL corner.
Yeah, I mean, like you said it, I think that there's some, whenever you watch him, certainly what you mentioned, the first thing that I notice when I watch him catch is just the length of his arms. He's one of these guys that's going to be like, he's not one of these just monster corners, right? Now, like say like a Julius or like Juju Brents was at K-State last year, and a guy that picked up a lot of steam through the Senior Bowl process and stuff. But certainly a guy whose arms are really the first thing that kind of stuck out to me, just with the way that he can close. The closing speed is actually also really. I think the closing speed, the change of direction, the short area quickness, burst, twitch, all that stuff, man. He's got like all the things that you look for in these guys, right? If you watch his huddle tape, you'll see on there. The first thing you'll see, I think the first couple plays are offensive plays, right? So I mean, you could definitely tell that he's a dude with good ball skills, good ability to read and react, and certainly can go up and make those plays. If you look at some of the testing that he's done, it's reported, I think he probably had a bad day as far as his vertical, because everybody reported it as like an 18-inch vertical, which clearly is just him not knowing the technique of how to get that done. You can see over an 18-inch vertical on some of these plays wherever he kind of goes up and gets it. But the ball skills, and then just the change of direction, the short area burst, that's evident in just the really, really good times that he had in the short shuttle and in the 3-cone. And as far as, I don't know, Catch, if you just watch it, maybe you could tell me a little bit. This could be a good time here watching his long speed. He's a long strider, right? And just look at the arms. His arms are so long, Catch. Long strider, I'm not sure as far as just pure burner down the field, straight line speed, if he's going to be one of these guys that is like a Manny Muhammad type of player where the speed is the first thing that jumps off to you. But I mean, just look at the way that he's kind of, bounces off guys, the way he can navigate through traffic, just really, really super comfortable being in these sort of closed spaces, phone booth type of player. And for those reasons, I think he would fit really good as the boundary corner at Texas, right? I think he can get up on guys, use his length, use his physicality, turn and run with them. Maybe not in the same, I would think that one day, this is the type of player that comes in, super blue chip player. You could see him watch this play, watch him out of his T-step and the way he closes on it. You couldn't see him out of the T-step right there, but you could just tell where his body was and how quickly he closed on that football. Really, 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 really fast out of those T-steps. Really, really good with the change of direction. And I think that when you just look at him, that's sort of his superpower, coupled with the ball skills. We're just talking, like, as we're heaping this praise on him, I think that what you come down to is it's just a super blue chip guy and a dude who you can see being a cornerstone on the defense. Maybe, getting to, you could certainly see him starting, opposite Manny Muhammad at some point here in the very near future.
Yeah, I mean, I think, they've done a good job in the last couple of years getting Terrence Brooks, getting Manny Muhammad from a year ago. So they've gone, if they were to pick up commitment today from Kobe Black, it would be their third straight year where they sign a super blue chip prospect. And look, didn't take Terrence Brooks long to get on the field. Didn't take.
Look at the strides. He's so, gosh. I mean, so it's just so hard for me to tell. I'm sorry, Kish. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I can't tell. I'd really like to know because they say that he's really good in track, but I couldn't find any of his track times. And I'm not as good at you about deducing what a track time means. You're always telling me about the track times. You always talk to watching Reuben Owens and all the stuff like that. But I couldn't find any of the databases to see what his track times were in the 100-meter. But they say that he's a good competitor at that. With these guys with these long strides, sometimes they're a little bit deceptive, with how fast they are as far as the long speed. They're actually running a lot quicker than it seems like they are.
To set the table on what the expectations are, we've been told there's like a 4:20 start time, which we've all kind of joked about for the last couple of days, because why wouldn't we laugh anytime we hear 4:20 used in any capacity? Jason Sucel is at the school, and he seems to think that this thing might not start on time. Surprise! But school doesn't get out. It doesn't sound like for another 5 to 10 minutes at Connally. And Jason, in setting the scene for us while he's in Slack, has said, kind of quiet in the auditorium right now. So don't be surprised if this doesn't get started right at 4:20. Sounds like his older brother, Corey, who's a starting cornerback at Oklahoma State, will be in the house. I've told Jason, hey, at some point today, find out what the hell's going on with Corey Black in the portal, because there's been some discussion that his older brother, who's a starter at corner for Oklahoma State, could end up in the portal as a grad transfer. Would Texas have an interest? Maybe not. It's kind of why I want Jason Sucel to get Corey Black pulled aside at some point and just kind of ask him, like, yo, how are you doing? What's going on with you? So Sucumel's there. He'll keep us updated as things are ongoing. I would imagine live streams and announcement streams will begin in about 10 minutes. We will work you all the way through the announcement. We'll give you the announcement as it happens. We'll react to the announcement. We'll have Jason in Waco and Adam Gorney in California responding to it. But from a timeline standpoint, it could be 10 minutes. But I think the expectation is growing that it might take a little bit longer, that they might not start on time. So you've got time to go get yourself something to drink should you want it. Our first super chat coming in from Money B says, get the party started. Catch, hit the pin at 4:20. See what they try to get me to do. They
they know that, man. Football with Friends is a family-friendly show, man. They would never ask me to do this kind of thing. Catch gets on the show, and
well, I did tell a hooker story earlier today. House Divided.
Oh God!
Don't ask me to repeat that.
I'm not going to.
Let me just put it like this: it was PG rated, I think. Another super chat coming in from Cody says, "You see Kobe playing cornerback. Where does that leave Wardell Mack?" What my evaluation of Kobe is that I think he's probably a boundary corner, like Alex said. But the thing that stands out about Kobe Black is how good of a football player he is.
Yeah.
He plays receiver. He plays running back. He returns kicks. He plays in the secondary. He does all of that at a high level. He's a plus athlete in everything he does. We'll probably rerun those highlights back in a little bit, and you can watch him doing spin moves in the middle between the tackles at running back. He does a little bit of everything. I think he could be an offensive player at the next level as well. If this was a two-way guy, three-way guy, and wanted to play on the offensive side of the ball, I still think he would be this high of a level of prospect. So I don't worry too much about his position because I do think he can play safety if they wanted him to. I think he'd be a phenomenal safety, actually, if we were looking at him as a back end of the defense guy. His versatility is part of his strength. And I think it wouldn't surprise me. There's a good chance that Ryan Watts is going to play some safety in the bowl game while they try to work through the Derek Williams injury. And
I just don't. I don't think. I mean, I know your sources are saying that. I don't think they need to do that.
Well, but I was going to point out the thing you like about a guy like Ryan Watts is that he has the versatility to be able to move.
In theory, in theory, yeah.
In theory, yeah. And I think in theory you would say that about Kobe Black as well. I think physically he kind of reminds me of a young Michael Griffin. I watched a lot of Michael Griffin in high school. Michael had kind of the same build. Matter of fact, if you go back and look, I realize it's 20 years ago, so you can't really just go back and watch old Michael Griffin video just because you want to. But he was a guy that played running back, wide receiver at Austin Bowie, played in the secondary, did special teams. I think he's got some Michael Griffin in him. Maybe not quite as naturally imposing and physical, but I think as an athlete, they're pretty similar. And obviously, Michael Griffin played virtually zero cornerback at Texas and played in the back end at safety the entire time. But I think if I was doing a player comparison, he might be the guy that I would point to almost as much for the size, the frame, and the overall skill set and versatility as a high school player. If you'd seen Michael Griffin play in high school at Austin Bowie, you would have seen just as much of him playing running back and wide receiver as you. He was the team's most important player. They did everything with him, and Waco Connally does a lot of that with Kobe Black. Hey, what do we need him to do? Run the ball, catch the ball, defend the ball, return the kicks. He's kind of a do-it-all player. Real quick, Alex, here's a look at his rankings across all of the major services. I've got him ranked as a high 4-star, the number 4 player in the state of Texas. Rivals also has him as a high 4-star, number 37 overall nationally, number 8 in the state of Texas. ESPN has him as a high 4-star, number 20 overall nationally, which you would think would eventually project to a 5th star. Number 5 in the state of Texas. 24/7 has him as a high 4-star, number 51 overall nationally, number 11 in the state of Texas. And On3 has a bit of an outlier ranking, which is kind of interesting because I promise you, if that kid commits to Texas, they'll be talking about him as like a high 4-star composite. But they have him ranked as a low 4-star, number 97 overall nationally, and number 21 in the state of Texas. I personally find that to be rather absurd. 24/7's composite has him as a high 4-star, number 41 overall nationally, number 10 in the state of Texas. So the thing to keep in mind is he's not a 5-star. Nobody in the industry has him quite ranked that high yet. I know that he's under consideration for a 5th star from Rivals. that they wanted to get a senior evaluation. Some of these things will come down to the postseason All-Star games and how guys perform there. As
Kobe Black going to the All-American game?
I think he's going to one of them. I need to double check. I sometimes lose track of where the hell these guys are going when they make their. But I'll check on that before the show's over, Jason. Couple of super chats.
Jason.
Jess says, "Here is to the hotel cost 21 years later." Thank you, Jess. I appreciate that. That was a $400 loss back in the day. Thank you for watching House Divided. Alex isn't completely sure what's going on there. It's probably best that he doesn't. Sorry I did a 3-hour show before you, Alex. And in that show, we may have drifted off the rails.
Got off the rails, it sounds like.
For a little while. Although this was a planned drift off the rails, which made it even more amusing, I think. Jay Lee says, every class ends up being important. How much better could this year's team have been had the 21 class had been better? I think only 4 contributors from it. I mean, yeah. Yes, Jay. You want to be able to keep the contributors. You know, the thing about that 21 class is that it started to slow. You know, that was the sandwich class that was partially Sark's, partially Herman's. The momentum for Herman in recruiting had just hit a wall by the end of that 2020 season. And when Sarkisian comes in, they had some poor evaluations, if we're being completely honest. I mean, they took some flyers on guys that didn't work out. And, you know, it's kind of what you would expect for a coach who's coming in a month before the second.
He said there's 4. He said there's 4. So, I mean, okay. So JT Sanders is a contributor. Oh, so 2021. So
yes.
JT Sanders contributor, Worthy, Blackwell.
Well, Worthy is. Do we count Worthy?
Yeah.
I guess you have to.
Yeah, of course, right? I think he committed it. He came. That's the year he came to Texas. I know it wasn't in the.
Here's who you have. Now the contributors from that class. There may not be a ton, but they are pretty badass.
So it's more than 4. It's JT Sanders, it's Worthy, it's Mo Blackwell, it's Byron Murphy. So we're already at 4, and then Jonathan Brooks clearly a contributor. So we're at 5. I was gonna say
Terrell.
I was gonna say T Brooks, but that's Terrence Cooks. He's certainly not a contributor. Hayden Connor, contributor, starter. I'm not sure you can call one Davis.
Terrell.
I'm not sure you can call one Davis.
No.
You know, Casey Kane had been a contributor, but not really.
We're really at like 6. You're
Baron Sorrell. It's more than 6. Gunnar Helm, Baron Sorrell, Hayden Connor, so that's 3. And then Brooks, that's 4. Murphy's 5. Blackwell 6. Worthy 7. JT Sanders is 8.
It's actually not a bad haul.
Yeah.
I mean, in this portal age, the other thing is they do have some other guys in there that are on the team still, in theory, depth guys. But yes, I mean, Jay, you're not wrong. A couple more guys would be a couple of more underclassmen for a team in the playoff. Maybe, I mean, this team could still win the national championship, at which point we'd only be arguing that a few more guys would only make them points better. You know, they would only beat teams by 17 instead of 10. Thank you, Jay Lee. We'll take more super chats if you've got them. Keep on bringing them. Oscar says, football with friends is friendly as hell.
Yeah.
And we love Alpha Alex for it.
It's true, man. It's friendly. It's friendly as can be, man. And I'm definitely an alpha male. So thank you very much.
I thought that was like an Alpha Rev reference.
I
was going to say, you guys don't know this, but once upon a time for one night, I was in Alpha Rev. I played it at a show for one song. They invited me up.
That's true.
Jeff Buckley's Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a complete one-off, but I've been wanting to change the Wikipedia page where I just go in there and say, for one night only, back in 2006, Jeff Ketchum. The thing is, I can't remember the name of that drum that I played, Alex.
Bongos, man. Bongos.
That was like the Cajonas drum or something like that.
Oh gosh, I don't know. That thing that Trash Man had. The thing. Yeah, I forgot the name of that thing too. That thing you got to hold. That cockamamie thing you got to hold between your knees.
Yes.
I forgot what that thing's called, man.
Here, I'm going to check with Jason Sucumel real quick. just say, hey,
Yep.
what's
Say,
the
hey,
status,
man.
Jason?
How close is Waco Connally to your old stomping grounds in Waco, Catch?
Not too far away, you know, where I had a lot of old stomping grounds when I moved. I lived right down the street from Waco University. Connally, keep going down 35 almost to the outskirts of Waco on the north side of town. Connally was never a big deal for me. You know, it was like Waco High.
Cajon.
What's
sorry.
that?
It just came to me. It's a cajon drum. It just came to me. I'm sorry. But Waco Connally.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. I don't know why it just came to me. But
now I can officially now I can officially edit the Wikipedia page. Now that I can remember what it is. Jason Sucel letting me know right now that Kobe Black just entered the auditorium where they're going to be doing the announcement. So we're at least there. We got a $20 super chat here, Alex.
Ooh.
Just because Alex has to he's given $20 just because Alex has to deal with Catch and the hooker aftermath.
Okay. Hey, man. VPC soap code, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you know what? Really friendly audience, Alex, that they're giving money.
It's fun as hell. It's
for the aftermath of a story that I told that had a happy ending because there was no happy ending. I don't know. Let's stick to the Kobe Black ceremony. Let me ask you this, Alex, while we wait for Kobe Black, from a defensive back standpoint next year, forget about Kobe Black for just a second. How do you see the secondary returning in a year from now?
Well, from a player, but kind of by player perspective, or from a just.
I mean, is it as simple as at corner, Muhammad moves in for Watts?
Yeah. So at corner, Muhammad will move in for Watts because I mean they've played Muhammad at both the boundary corner and at the field corner, but they clearly like him better at the boundary. So I think that's where they would do it. With that being said, you know, whenever you look at it, Terrence Brooks, they like him better at field. So I do think that next year it would definitely start out Manny Muhammad and Terrence Brooks as the kind of, you know, as your kind of starters there. And then I think Gavin Holmes is a junior, right? So
no, he'll be a senior next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be the same type of player. I think that, you know, he's kind of topped out now as just a rotational guy that can only play to the field side. I think if that's the case, I mean, we're gonna have to see what happens with my guy Santana Wilson and the other one Cody mentioned earlier, Wardell Mack. But I do think if a guy like Kobe Black came in, I think, you know, in a way similar to Malik Muhammad this year, he comes in as just a super like all-star background. And look, Wilson and Wardell Mack are both really good too. But I do think that probably if Gavin Holmes was your first kind of let's get Skull. Okay, yeah. So if Gavin Holmes is sort of your first guy in at field corner behind T. Brooks, I would think that, man, I mean, I would think that I think Kobe Black could come in and have a similar kind of arc to the way that Manny Muhammad did this year. I'm not sure that I think Catch, I mean, not to throw water on, I mean, I think that kind of like Muhammad a little bit better as a prospect, just looking at these guys, not to say that I don't think that Kobe Black's extremely good. So I think he could have a role where he's kind of, if they want to keep this rotation going, where they do rotate in the safeties and they do rotate in the corners. And Sark has said that this has not been something where he's doing it because he thinks certain guys aren't good enough, right? It's not something where he thinks that, you know, that we're just getting these guys all reps because we're trying to use the best. He credits a whole lot of the fact that they're keeping guys fresh through games. They haven't had these late game letdowns on the defensive side of the football. He credits a lot of that to some of these rotations he's kept, and maybe he would like to keep that going. With that said, if you get a guy that's an all-star super stud player, eventually you're just not going to, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to rotate him in, you know, like you don't rotate guys in for Kelvin Banks. Like you just don't do that kind of stuff. So
I think the thing that they'll likely do is what you mentioned. I think his trajectory screams Malik Muhammad 2.0. Not in the sense that he's the upgraded version, but I think he's the next version. I think they'll bring him in. I think he and Gavin Holmes will probably battle for the backup spots the way Gavin Holmes and Malik Muhammad did this season. And I think you'll probably see him play. What did Muhammad play this year? About 300 snaps?
I'll pull it up. I don't know off the top of my head. He was a significant. Down the stretch, catch. He was kind of like. He's playing better than Watts down the stretch of the season, and he was getting in a lot more. But yeah, over the course of the year, just trying to look at the deep dig. So it was Manny Muhammad. Yeah, 362 total snaps.
By the way, so Kobe Black has started his Instagram feed. So it's just him sitting there, not doing a whole lot right now. Coaches are currently talking. Like I said, I think the expectation is that this thing might go closer to 440 from an announcement standpoint, more so than 420, which is when initially that was when they were saying that it would be going off.
What is his Instagram handle
for Kobe Black?
Yeah. Can you read it to me, or Blake? Can you put it in chat or something so I can find it?
It's I am Kobe Black _.
I am Kobe Black. Cool. Well, oh, here it is. Cool. God's child. Look at this. All right. Cool, man. Thank you.
One of the things real quick while we wait for Kobe Black, I wanted to point out that one of the things why this thing's so important is that, from a position, from a positional combustibility standpoint, or how much you can depend on them, defensive backs in the state of Texas rated as high as Kobe Black are among the safest prospects that you can get from the state of Texas. Very high returns. I was looking at some of the names earlier, and it's a who's who of guys that have played in the NFL, guys that have been successful all across the country. You stand about a 60% chance of a guy at this level turning into an NFL draft pick. Usually guys at the high end here, when they hit big. So more times than not, they're first or second day guys in the NFL draft, and not just guys who are kind of straggling along. It's one of those things where it's like, this kid keeps his head on straight and doesn't get hurt. The statistics and the data say this is a Sunday guy in the future. And, when we were looking back at that 2021 class, there are ways to contribute, but it sure helps, Alex, when you look back at a recruiting class to say who was a success or not, and the guys that end up being high-level players jump off the map, like that 2021 class. They don't just have some contributors. They've got some major contributors. And I think, Kobe Black, almost as much as anybody in this class, projects as that next level kind of player.
What? Hold on. I was trying to pull up the announcement. Can you go back over those numbers again? You said about the Texas DBs of this caliber. So is this what you mean of your super blue chips? By the way,
yeah.
We broke down that that super blue chip ranking you did, Catch. We broke it down yesterday on Football with Friends just to look, because I was talking about that. I'm like, I'll bet you that thing's pretty predictive. Looking back, that list you made of the super blue chips teams. And it's true. 4 out of the top 5 teams that you had listed on that thing were all until championship Saturday in consideration for the CFP. It was just, the only super outlier was A&M.
Some names from the past: Lewis Sign from Georgia, one of the more recent players with the exact same ranking as Kobe Black. Kendall Sheffield was probably one of the bigger busts. Ends up going out Alabama, Ohio State, but really never took off. Deontay Thompson's played in the NFL. Jamal Adams is Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
Aaron Williams, Shockey Brown, Michael Griffin, Terrell Brown. From the 5-star standpoint, only one 5-star in the history of the Rivals ranking from the state of Texas as a DB never made the NFL. That was a Dorian McCullough in 2002, who had all of the ability in the world. And I can remember having a conversation with Chris Sims one day where he talked about how McCullough was the best of the DB groups that they would have had back then, including Huff.
Are you really
Griffin.
serious? Wow.
He thought McCulloch was going to be the star and just couldn't stay in school. But the other guys, Curtis Brown from Texas, Craig Loston, Tony Brown, who went to Alabama, still in the league, I think, but was a late round draft pick, Jeffrey Okudah, Caden Stearns. Like I said, I mean, you're either at the highest end or at a minimum, you got a starting level player who typically plays on Sundays. That's how these typically work out. You know what the outlier is? Texas A&M. When kids have gone to Texas A&M as a high-level prospect DB from the state of Texas, weirdly, they've just never really panned out. I could give you the list. Leon O'Neal, whatever we think of him, Derek Tucker, Justin Dunning, Rodney Elam, Cameron Miles.
Derek Tucker. I can't believe he never turned out, man. He's an awesome safety.
Never turned out. Nick Harvey, back in the day, never turned out. I mean, the weirdly, A&M is dragging down the state of Texas scores amongst the highest level DBs. Some other guys in recent years, BJ Foster, Anthony Cook, Tyler Owens, who's at Texas Tech, and I think may still get a chance to maybe go to an NFL training camp when it's all said and done. And we mentioned Terrence Brooks for the 2022 class, still doing kind of pre-ceremony.
It looks like he's got family up there with him. I guess is that his brother sitting next to him?
Probably.
Yep. And they got it looks like they're putting out some bags. They got one bag that says OSU. They got one bag that has an Oregon Duck on there. You got to think, man, Catch, if his brother's there with him and his brother's thinking, his brother's there with him, it probably makes the Oklahoma State crowd feel a little bit good about it. We also have an LSU bag coming out, an A&M bag coming out.
They've got the bags.
Yeah, the Texas bag is right in the middle. He's having to walk out there to see which bag is which, so he doesn't pick the wrong one, I guess.
The favorite of these over the years, Alex, was
he's looking in the A&M bag now. He's looking down at the Texas bag.
Into the Texas thing, and he's doing a pump fake. He put the Texas hat down.
Put the Texas hat down.
Now he's going to the A&M bag. He's going to put the A&M hat on, and he does a pump fake and puts that down. That's kind of ominous.
Yeah. Hey, man, he started out with the Texas one and put it back down. I wonder if he's going for the –
Now he's doing a hook 'em, and I guess that's it. He's picked Texas.
I think the hat's on there. He's doing the hook 'em sign. Kobe Black is –
if it's a fake out now –
if it's a fake out now, you can't – it's not it. That's it. I think they got him. I think they got him.
Taking photos of the double hook 'em. Now I've got him. No.
I think they got him.
Has officially picked the University of Texas.
He didn't even mess with that OSU bag, that Oregon bag, or that LSU bag.
The only bag he messed with was the A&M bag.
Yep.
I don't know if that, maybe that's we don't want to do it. No disrespect to Oklahoma State, all things considered. But yeah, I didn't mess around with anything other than Texas and Texas A&M. Kobe Black, officially a Longhorn. Guys, if that's not worth a like, I don't know what is.
Golly. Yes,
give it your likes.
Yeah. Kobe Black is the first thing that Kobe Black's going to do after when he gets home is go search his name on YouTube, man. Don't you want to see a bunch of likes on the show talking about him?
Well, I want to go to the video where there's a ton of likes. So I'm going to make sure we'll get Adam Gorney on in about 5 minutes. It's weird. This was one of the weirdest recruitments in a long time. Yeah, because all he did was there was no shenanigans, Alex. He just kind of did his thing.
It was kind of some shenanigans, Cash. I mean, Jason's had this commitment story in the admin since July. I mean, it's like,
well, no, he gave a silent commitment back in the summer. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And Money B. He says, I have to hit the pin. His brother just put a Texas hat on. Okay.
Jason, go talk to him. Yeah, I don't.
Once he's done talking, Sucel will go in. I just sent Adam Gorney a link, so he'll join us momentarily.
I'm not sure that Texas needs old Corey now that they
The problem is now they have his brother, so they may not need old Corey now.
Yeah, man.
But I think Corey's good enough. If Corey Black said, "Look, I want to come play at Texas," and that's what it takes for, I think you would take him. I think he's a better version of Gavin Holmes. So, maybe you could use him for depth elsewhere. The problem for a guy like Corey Black is I just don't think there's a guarantee. And if you're a grad transfer who's been a Big 12 level starting corner, you're not going to go to Texas and try to fight Terrence Brooks, Malik Muhammad, and your brother to get on the field. So it just doesn't make any sense.
And the trap door, or I guess not the trap door, but the extra out that you have that all these guys always have is like, oh, well, I can always bounce down to nickel. Good luck with that. There's cash getting it from Money B. Money B, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. As always, man. So good. Gosh, talk about it. This is fun as hell today, man. I love these kinds of shows. The thing about this though, Catch, is that you don't have this like, he can't say, oh, I can just spin down to nickel too, because nickel next year, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to be handling that. I think that, if Andrew Makuba comes to Texas, that could be something where, they could look at him there. But, dude, they have, from what I've seen, it feels like Austin Jordan, Jalen Gilbo, and that now they got Jelani McDonald. How are you? That's a pretty big log. That's a pretty big log jam there. And
and I think Makuba is coming in. It's so funny, Alex. I was doing the end of House Divided, and a bunch of people started coming in the chat, and they were like, On3 is reporting that Makuba is going to visit Texas this weekend. So I put it in our Slack channel, and Jason's like, oh, no, I reported that like at 12:15.
Oh, God.
And I was like, I guess he said he didn't make a big deal out of it because we had reported last week that Makuba was going to be in town this weekend.
Right.
So, yes, Makuba is coming into town this weekend. Matter of fact, let me just check. Sometimes I just got to keep an eye on. Okay. I did actually get a text message. I can't read it. And it's not about Makuba, but the sense that I have from talking to people, I checked my phone as soon as I got off the air because all of this stuff was going on. And I had multiple sources reach out to me. I reached out to another one asking about Makuba. There's definitely a sense that that's going to get done now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take the super chat off, but I think this is interesting, Cash. It's just it was the same analysis that we had. Points you've seen at
it's not rocket science like this.
Yeah.
This is what they're going to do with him. The interesting thing is there will be a really intense battle between him and Malik Muhammad. You would think at that position next year, if he wants immediate snaps, they won't come as easy as he just shows up and they give it to him.
Yeah.
Alex, let's hold that thought. Joining us right now from his mansion, his man cave in his mansion, because he's the Rivals national analyst for Rivals.com. He's also one of our favorite guests. He does a great job every time he comes on. Adam Gorney from Rivals.com joining us for a little Kobe Black reaction. Adam, I'll just shut up. Your initial reaction to the commitment that just went down.
How's my mom's basement looking? Pretty good.
These days, very good.
Yeah, very good. Not surprised. I hate as expected in the recruiting world, but I think Texas led here for a long time. Others tried. I mean, Oklahoma State has those connections. Texas A&M tried, but it seemed like Texas for a very long time here and a very big commitment. I kind of compare him to like a bigger Malik Muhammad. He's aggressive. He gets in your face a little bit. He's very competitive. I love that Black plays receiver and special teams as well. It means the coaches want him on the field at all times. Just a very good commitment. Texas continues to build up that secondary, and this is a very nice one for you guys.
Adam, we're close to signing day. We're a week away as of today. The state of Texas, it's been kind of dull, and Kobe Black has kind of loomed as one of the last major decisions, barring guys switching and moving around. We'll see. An interesting final 4 or 5 months, though, for his recruitment, because for a guy that's waited until almost the end, it's not like he's been taking visits and that, in-home visits at the end, who got the last word. It never really came down to that, which is a little strange. Again, given the timing, I think it made Texas fans nervous that he was waiting so long, because they kept waiting for a surprise to come out of thin air. Maybe it would be the Aggies, but it just never happened. And it does feel like we just cruised to his announcement.
Yeah, it was definitely not something that you saw some coaches popping in his house this week or last week, or he's taking a late visit to Texas A&M now with a new coaching staff that's more defensive minded. Nothing like that. It was really, he went up to Oklahoma State a couple times, but really he's sort of kept it quiet the whole time. So as a Texas fan, you sort of get worried, like, why is he not committing? What's going on? Why is he not committing? What is he waiting on? And so you never really know. I think he probably just wanted to get a little closer to signing day, probably past his senior season just to make sure, but not surprised here that Texas won out.
Hey, Adam, I got a quick question for you, brother. Just got like a 2-part question, really. First, I know is he a guy that you've seen at any camps or anything like that? Have you got your eyes on him in one of these camp settings or anything like that yet?
Just film. He doesn't do much.
Okay.
He doesn't go to many things. He doesn't, as far as I know, I've been at every big 7-on-7 tournament in the country over the last 2 years. He's been on none of those teams. Fast Houston is a team that pretty much gets everybody to come play for them. He hasn't been there. There's a million other teams that he could have played for. He didn't do that. So this is a lot of in-person evaluation at games and then a ton of tape.
Okay. So, all right. So whenever you look at the tape, just 2 things. One, what do you think about him? Whenever I watched it, I just wondered a little bit. He's a really long strider, got really long arms. What did you think about his long speed? Sometimes those guys with the really long strides can maybe not look quite as fast on film as the others, but they really kind of get moving with how, with those big long strides of theirs. And secondly, what do you think is, if you had to say that a recruit had a superpower, just a trait that, like, the one thing that really sticks out to you about him?
Yeah, definitely a long strider. You do worry about his turning and running ability just a little bit if you're worried about anything in terms of that stuff, but he never really showed it. And those guys with the long arms, like the Eli Rickses of the world, who never had to be the fastest because they could always close and kind of poke balls away at the last second. So, I think that really had stood out about him. And if there's a superpower here, I think it's his competitiveness level. You watch him on tape, every ball he knocks away, every catch and touchdown he makes, he's talking trash. He's getting in people's faces. He's got a little dog factor in him. I love that. And I love that in my cornerbacks, guys that aren't shying away from anything, going after it, getting aggressive. I think that's going to really work well in that defense. So he's not a kid. I'm not going to say he's like a Colin Simmons or a DJ Lagway that we've seen a million times and we kind of know. But he's got a lot of stuff on tape, not only at corner, but at wide receiver and on special teams to be convinced he's a pretty good athlete.
Well, Adam, and I don't know if we'd seen him as a company in the last couple of weeks, but I know Cole Patterson saw him earlier in the year. So Rivals has had eyeballs on him since the start of the season. I remember that you made a comment. In fact, I put it in the instant analysis of the article I did, in part because I wrote it back in the summer and I figured, why waste it? But back in the summer, you said that it was a 2-horse race for the nation's #1 cornerback spot, but that Bryce West, Kobe Black, and Jalen Mbakwe were in the discussions as well. I'm just curious because we're towards the end of the recruiting process. Is there still a chance that he could elevate to a 5-star ranking, or have we seen enough? And hey, no disrespect to any of the high 4-star guys, because that is an insanely high ranking as well. But Is there something keeping him from a 5th star, or is he still in that kind of consideration?
No, definitely in that consideration. And, right now we only have 1 5-star cornerback in Ellis Robinson, Georgia. It's going to be very tough to knock him off that number 1 spot. Had a phenomenal senior season. I'll admit it. All-star games are going to be the most important factor. So if Kobe Black, I'm not sure if he's playing in one, where he is, but I will be in Orlando and in San Antonio. We will have people at the Polynesian game in Hawaii. So if he shows up to any of those, absolutely. If he doesn't, it's going to be tough because there's nothing to really bump him up on as a final evaluation. But as the number 2 cornerback in the country right now, he's definitely going to be someone that's going to get a look, and there's no stopping us from adding more. So he is a name that should be under watch.
Hey, Adam, just quickly for me, and I know that this, but the addition of Kobe Black, it's really big for the class. And you mentioned, or like, I couldn't live with myself. And I know this is a Kobe Black show, but like, I'm just going to do it anyway. Tell me, give me your book on my guy, Colin Simmons. You've seen him. You said that you've seen him a lot. What do you think? What do you think about his ability to make it first year impact?
Yeah, we'll see first year, but over the long term, he's like a 21st century linebacker edge rusher. Like, he's exactly what defenses are looking for. Twitched up, athletic, and strong, a hitter, a guy that tracks the ball, runs sideline to sideline, makes a ton of tackles, and sort of a leader of that defense at Duncanville, vocally, but also in just the way he kind of carries himself. So I think he's exactly what a lot of teams want and are looking for. Doesn't have like that insane length that some other defensive ends have in the class, but can play all over the defense, is always around the ball, and has just like this twitched up ability that you really can't coach. So they're going to find places to get him on the field. And really, football in today's day and age is not knocking people's heads off every single time. It's getting people on the ground and being fast. And that's what he can do. And he can hit people too. But it's getting people on the ground. It's covering, it's playing in space, all of the things he could do. And then he could blitz off the edge and cause real problems in the backfield.
These are some pieces that they've added on defense, Catch. and Adam, we're getting some people in the chat before I hand it back to Catch. The people in chat are, of course, correcting us and letting us know that apparently he is, if we can listen to the chat and all the chatters, they're saying that he's in the Under Armour game. So
okay, perfect.
I guess that's where you'll be able to get a look.
I'm excited to tell my wife that on the morning of December 27th, I will be flying cross country with every other schmuck after Christmas to get to Orlando.
Yeah. But now you can tell her that the Texas fans really want to know an in-person eval against Apple versus Apple with Kobe Black, and I get to see it, honey. It'll be fantastic.
Honestly, she's probably happy I'm leaving, so that's fine.
James McDaniel says his length reminds me of Cedric Griffin, the former Horns DB. Catch, who do you compare him to? James, they're not at the same position, probably. But I told Alex very early when we jumped on, physically and like his game, it's an oldie but a goodie. Reminds me a lot of Michael Griffin. Not as physical as Michael Griffin when he was in that class of 2004. Same kind of body. And when you watched him at the high school level, running back, wide receiver, corner, returns kicks, whatever the team needs him to do, he does. And he always looks like the best athlete on the film. Now, Mike never played corner. He played safety. So it's not a like for a like. But if you ask me who he reminds me of when I watch film and when I've seen what I've seen of him, I see a lot of Michael Griffin. It's the football part of his skill set that I love the most. Adam talked about his competitiveness. He just plays football no matter what you ask him to do, like a total badass. And it's not easy to do. It's not easy to just take any guy on the field and say during the course of a game, play running back, play receiver, play corner, be used in the nickel and be used to basically be a rover and chase everything all over the field. Oh, by the way, can you return punts and kickoffs and he does all of that within the context of a game. And it always looks like he's really badass at doing all of that. Adam, I mentioned, I think if Kobe Black wanted to play wide receiver at the collegiate level, I think he'd be a high level prospect and player.
What do you think of that idea, Adam?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I don't think it'll happen just because of how much activity there is there. But you know who he reminds me of a little bit is Kool-Aid McKinstry at Alabama.
I like to hear that. That's good.
A guy who just played everywhere, loved playing everywhere, still plays everywhere. They still use him on special teams. And Saban has done this, and Sark does it as well. You get your athletes on the field and you make them do things. So I think Kobe Black is maybe a little bit of a lesser version, probably a little bigger at the same stage, but very similar in that sense of just being on the field all the time, doing, not just playing receiver and returning kicks, but making impact doing it. And so I think that's sort of, who he is.
And James, real quick, no on Cedric Griffin. Said was uncontrollably athletic. I don't know if that completely makes sense. He looked like a wild horse that hadn't ever been contained and just was incredible. I can't say enough about how good Cedric Griffin was as a high school player. Kind of similar to Kobe Black in that even back then wasn't doing camps and wasn't really competing against guys. There were no all-star games that Cedric Griffin went to. We just evaluated him on film, and it was scary how athletic he was as a young player. Just almost no coaching, just him being freakishly athletic. But yeah, anyway, I love the Cedric Griffin question because he's probably one of my all-time favorites. Adam, before we let you go, what kind of makes the Kobe Black commitment really important? And Jason was like talking about like all of the networks had people there, which is kind of interesting because not all of the networks have Kobe Black ranked the same. It's not like 5-star across the board and not even like necessarily high 4-star, but there's nobody else in Texas that's like pending. Who knows, maybe DJ Lagway does something crazy at the end and makes this thing fun. Maybe Terry Bussey flips and goes somewhere else. But I'm looking at the Rivals Top 100, and there are no undecideds in the state of Texas until you get down to number 38, Lancaster all-purpose back, Kawan Lacey. We're going to make that guy super important because he's the only guy left in the state of Texas. I don't think I've ever seen this before.
Yeah, and he commits today, and it looks like it's going to be Ole Miss. So he's wrapped up as well. But, I think Aaron Hampton might be somebody to watch. It'll be interesting to see. There will be some surprises. I think Draylon Miller committing to Colorado the other day was a little bit of a surprise. And then he told me that the USC was was in second place there, which was even more of a surprise. I think this might be just a little bit of the way of the world here. Guys lock in early, that they're taking visits as 8th graders. They want spots. They don't want the portal to mess with them. Those top guys that people will wait for, but I'd watch Bussey. I think Lagway, Texas A&M was by the school, showed some interest. I just think he's so far down the road with Florida now that it's going to be tough to flip him. Bussey will be one interesting to watch. Xavier Filsame will be one interesting one to watch. At the top, that's a good start, but there'll be other surprises.
Hey, Adam, we've had some reporting on our side about Aaron Hampton, and people can follow that. I guess did they have an in-home with him yesterday, or when was it with Hampton? I don't know. It's on Jason's report, and it feels like there could be something going on there. But regardless, just about Hampton, regardless of anything that might happen, where do you see him playing at the next level? Do you have like a lot of conviction about where you think you see him slotting in?
Yeah. So the general rule of thumb is you put your best athletes on defense, but I'm not entirely sure that is the case at Texas. Like, he's a very, very talented receiver. He could play in the slot. He's kind of a game breaker type. So, that has been the rule of thumb in football. I'm just not entirely sure that's the truth anymore. Like, And how Texas wants to run its defense, I'm not entirely certain. He could certainly play there and make a big impact. But a guy like that with the ball in his hands, I always felt Adoree Jackson was sort of misused at USC and should have been a wide receiver. Just because he was so freakishly good there. Like he's great at corner, and he's great in the NFL, and he has been for a long time. But I think he would have been even a better receiver over the long term, just because he's so freakishly athletic. Hampton isn't that athletic, but he's very good with the ball in his hands, and I think Sark will be fighting for him to stay on offense because of that impact.
That's interesting.
Adam, we got Jason Sucel in queue. Any final remark before we say goodbye?
I didn't know his bondsman let him out this early. So,
well, it's a special day.
Special day, big day. Yeah, big day.
Cool.
Only on Wednesdays when announcements are made, but he'll be back soon. He can't stay out.
Of course. Good talking to you guys.
We'll see you down in San Antonio, brother. Thank you,
right,
Adam.
Adam Gorney, Rivals.com. All right, one man in, one man out, another man in. Jason Sucel from his car outside of Waco Connally High School.
Car and no Wi-Fi at the school, so hopefully this holds up, fellas.
You look good. You sound good.
All right. Well, that's the first time for everything. So.
Give us the lowdown. It seemed pretty simple. There weren't a lot of games. He looked at a couple hats, didn't bother with all 5 bags, just put the Texas hat back on.
Yeah, a little bit of gamesmanship there. When I was so far away, put the Texas hat, and then was it the A&M hat? I think he put on and threw that one away. Pretty quick and painless. I don't know how much the broadcast showed, but some coaches spoke, and then they showed a video of Kobe. And the most interesting thing he said, and I just finished talking to Kobe like literally a minute ago. He said on his announcement, he said, "Hey, I pretty much was committed before my season started." Well, that's kind of what we had heard Catch going back to his official visit. I did ask him after his, or just now after his ceremony, and I said, "Hey," I said, "that was pretty interesting to me." He said, "You've been committed since before your season started." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I kind of misspoke." He goes, "What I meant was I pretty much knew where I wanted to go, but I wasn't actually committed." He said he told Coach Sark and the rest of the staff about 2 weeks ago, but no real surprises. I think we all knew where this one was heading, and kind of went the way we thought it would.
Was there even a number 2?
You know what? I asked him that, and I said, "Hey, I said a lot of people thought maybe Oklahoma State," and he said probably Oklahoma State or LSU would have been his number 2. But I think, but he
right
did
the
say,
entire time. He's all Texas, and he just cruised to the finish line.
Yeah, and I asked him after he said that. I said, "Was there ever some back and forth, or was it always just Texas was head and shoulders above everybody else?" And he said, "Yeah, it was always Texas was above everybody else." So they're really, not that we ever really thought there was much drama with this one or mystery, but he kind of confirmed everything that we had thought and reported over the last several months.
Alex, got a question?
Yeah, I mean, so anything about, like, does it feel to you like his brother? I mean, is his brother going to enter the portal? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
It's funny. Like, there was one of his brothers was at the podium. I thought it was his brother Corey, but I talked to their dad after the ceremony, and Corey Black is still up in Stillwater. Okay, and I asked, I was like, "Hey, man, is there a chance that Corey might enter the portal?" And they said, "Well, he's still kind of undecided. He's going to take about a week or so and think about things." But then Kobe, when I was talking to Kobe separately, Kobe mentioned about Oklahoma State. And he said, "Yeah, it would have been cool to maybe play with my brother for a little bit." And I jokingly said, "Hey, could still happen, right? Maybe in Austin." And Kobe's like, "Yeah, could still happen." So no decisions made, Alex, but it's certainly something that's being discussed and being considered.
Jason, just from an on-the-site reporting standpoint, any other thing from the announcement that stood out?
Pretty good crowd. They did it right when the school got out, so it was a good crowd. You heard a lot of hook'ems yelled out when he announced. I'm trying to think, Catch, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, like I said, there were a couple coaches spoke very highly of Kobe and his family, but it was pretty straightforward when it came to the announcement. No real surprises.
Any last thing before we let him go, Alex?
Oh no, I'm good. Sorry, I was on mute. My dog's out here going ape, man. So if he keeps doing this, I'm gonna have to put him in the garage. Yeah. So my bad. If you like, sorry.
Hey, one more note, Catch, before I hop off and fight traffic back to Austin. I asked him. I said, "Hey, are you performing in one of the All-American Bowls?" And he said he might do the Under Armour game, which of course is in Orlando. And I said, "Oh, are you still deciding between Under Armour and the All-American Bowl potentially?" He said, No. It'll either be the Under Armour Bowl or he might go to Texas's bowl game against their first game against Washington.
Is he an early enrollee?
He is an early enrollee, yes.
Okay, so he's on campus mid-January.
Yeah, a lot of guys I've talked to are some of them are moving like as early as like January 11th. Of course, some guys are actually coming in this weekend. We've reported that, and they're going to stay there. Kobe wouldn't do that, but I know Zena Umuzala told me like January 11th. I had someone else tell me the 15th or something. So I would say that kind of second week of January that he would be down there officially in Austin. He'll sign next week with Texas, move down mid-January.
Last question. Any mention of Big 12 championship game, playoff? You said he might decide to just go to the playoff game to see Texas and Washington play. Any commentary at all just on the success down the stretch?
No, I didn't hear him talk about that. I mean, with me and then talking to his dad, it was more about the relationships that he had built at Texas, the fact that it's close to home. They're a really close-knit family. I tell you what, he really likes Coach Joseph. And one thing he told me way back in the spring, and he reiterated it again today, they haven't promised him like, hey, come in and you'll get to play early. Someone's alarm goes off. They just said, hey, you're going to have to come in and work and earn your spot. And Coach Joseph told him like, hey, dude, we're going to try to recruit better players than you even. So you're going to have to come and work to earn your spot. Kobe said, you know what? I'm a competitor. I liked hearing that. I want to go down there and compete. So he's ready to get down to Austin and work and earn his spot and not have anything given to him.
It's funny, Jason. We had Adam Gorney on just moments ago. Alex asked Adam what his favorite trait, what's Kobe Black's superpower trait, and Gorney said his competitiveness.
Yeah, well, Kobe certainly backed it up.
I wasn't expecting to hear. I was expecting him to say, "Oh, change the direction," or like stuff like that.
Size, yeah, exactly. But he doesn't back down from it. And he said, I don't care who they recruit in this class or if they recruit some 5 stars behind me. He said, I'm ready to come in and compete.
Jason, get on out of here, my man. Safe travels. We'll see you on Slack when you get back. Take your time, listen to some music. Don't worry about the bad drivers on 35.
Or at least try not to. It's kind of hard.
You know who else, Alex? I'm not comparing him to this guy. Although, as a high school player, he was also a wide receiver and a running back and a return guy and a corner. Like, he was one of those guys. But so few guys over the years have a superpower trait that's their competitiveness. The one guy that I always remember about that, I remember being at a 7-on-7 tournament, and I had this guy ranked about 40th in the state, and I'm talking to an NFL player who was in the league at the time. And he said, this guy's the number 1 player in the state of Texas. And I don't care where you guys have him ranked. Nobody's a better football player than this guy. And the thing I love about him is his competitiveness, that every rep he wants to kill you. And that guy ended up being Earl Thomas. You may have heard of him. He had himself a career. So anytime I hear people kind of go with he's a junkyard dog and wants to compete and everything's a battle and he takes everything personal, that's always the first guy that I think of. Not trying to say by any shape or means that we're looking at another Earl Thomas. Just in hearing that as a number 1 trait for a guy ranked that high, usually, like you said earlier, it's something else. It's, oh, you should see him in coverage, his ability.
Oh yeah, because take JT Sanders, for example, right? Or any of these guys that play 2 positions and play them really, really well in high school, right? With JT Sanders, you wouldn't have necessarily said that he's just, you just said like he's this awesome receiver that can make these athletic one-handed catches, and he's he could rush off the edge and just do all this. There's these things he can do. Do you know who it kind of reminds me of? And it's just, do you know who else is just a dog, man? Is Whittington. He was he was that same way at his 7-on-7s, wherever, so much so when I saw him at 7-on-7, I was like, dude, this guy needs to play safety. Like, he needs to play defense. He's a ball hawk. He's just like, he's got that my ball mentality on offense. He's got it on defense. He's got it. Like, he's just a baller. He wants his hands on the football, and I think that we've seen clearly, everyone loves, Jay Witt, and clearly they play different positions, totally different types of players. Right. But, those are the kinds of guys, man. Just listen to the way Sark talks about a guy like Jay Witt, man. Those are the kinds of guys that you need in your program, especially if once you feel like you've developed a little bit of a culture. You need those kinds of guys to keep that keep that whatever the culture is or however you define it, man, to be able to just kind of be the new breed that's coming up that really embraces it and takes it to the next level.
By the way, I agree with Adam Gorney about Aaron Hampton. I think Aaron Hampton's an offensive player, for me, much more so that I would actually, you asked him, like, would you stand on a table for a position? I would. Offense. I think he's a receiver. And I was literally talking to Jason about this week. He's coming in and they're starting him out at safety. I think his best position is wide receiver. And
hold on. I'm sorry. We're talking about
Hampton.
Hampton. Okay, got you. Sorry. Okay, I thought I just had a seizure. I thought you were talking about Kobe Black.
I was just saying you asked.
Okay, yeah,
Warney about.
Well, I've been curious. I've been curious as can be about it. I don't have I have my takes. I don't have very good conviction about it. Like, do you have conviction?
Yes, I think the first time I saw Aaron Hampton and thought, wow, offensive side of the ball, and. I think he's really good. I think the best I've seen him look is when he's on offense. I would say I think where they probably feel good about from an immediate standpoint, he's probably would if he did play receiver, he'd probably come in and be competing with DeAndre Moore and Ryan Niblett inside for snaps, and they may feel like, hey, you guys haven't really seen these two guys play. But we think we're pretty good there. Don't know that having a third guy there matters as much as maybe having him on defense. We'll see.
Do you think the schools that are trying to flip him might are going to be doing it as a wide receiver?
Well, look, he had an in-home visit today with Texas, if I'm not mistaken, or it was either last night. He's saying that he's firm, that he's not going anywhere. But Nick Saban's trying, like Nick Saban literally.
That's what I'd be curious to hear what Saban said, but his, where he sees it. I would, I'd pay like $50 of my own money just for that little bit of information, just to know what Saban said. I've thought so much about it myself. I'd die to hear what Saban said. I'd love to.
Not everybody loves him, but Saban does.
Yeah.
So much so that he flew out here and did that in-home visit and. And it wasn't, he's not shooting for I don't know if that's a half court shot, but that's not a 3-point shot either. It may be one of those Steph Curry from the logo threes that Saban was attempting and going into to visit him. But just so you know, my opinion would be wide receiver. I'm fascinated that Texas likes him on defense so much that it's kind of determined that he's going to start out on defense per the last conversations that Succel's had with the kid himself.
Yeah. I would love it. I'm going to have to tell Jason in Slack. I'm going to say, like, man, if you get him again, just ask him what Saban said. Ask him what Saban, I'd love to know what Nick Saban thinks, that kid should be lining up and what he should be doing at college. I would love
come here because we think you can be the next.
Yes. Yeah, because that'll totally like I said, I don't have much conviction about it as far as my evaluation, not as much as you. That'll give me the absolute conviction. Like whatever Saban says is what he's flying out to. Like
I'm with you. I would defer to Darth Saban if he had some real conviction.
Sure.
Guys, do us a solid. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Get notifications. Alex, give me some final thoughts as we wrap things up. I feel like we were on the site. We've got the national view. You and I have had our reactions. Give me like a closing thought before we go.
Okay. Well, Blake, before we do this, let me at least once just plug on the show for the Football with Friends college bowl pick'em contest. If we get that link up, you can go to my buddy Byron's app, Angel Fire Games, download the app, and then click on this link, right? And then it'll take you there. It's free to join. It's $100 first prize for the bowl pick'em. It starts Saturday. $50 second prize, and if you get them all right, you get $500. Totally free to join. So join that. Have some fun with us. As far as the Kobe Black, like I said, man, and I told Anwar this on his show today. What it feels like what's happening to me is every team's a different team, right? Every team's going to be a different team every single year, right? We didn't come into this year knowing that I guess this team's superpower, right? I mean, it's the interior defensive line, and it's probably not going to be like that again next year or maybe the year after, right? Just based on the pieces that they have in place. But man, isn't it interesting to think about the combinations that it could be with some of these sick young players that Texas has, right? Could it be an Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons kind of defense, right? Could it be a Kobe Black, Manny Muhammad, Derek Williams, Xavier Filsaime kind of defense, like a total no-fly zone type of thing? Like, man, getting these kids in here, and like I give credit to you for the whole idea of the super blue chip thing, the lists. Your list shows. Me and Blake looked back at it yesterday. Your list shows that those teams are those are the teams that make it to the CFP, or at least you're in the final conversation for it. It just is. So to me, this is just another piece that gets added in to let your imagination explore a little bit about just, what this team could possibly be and what its next big just nuclear weapon is going to be on the defensive side of the football, whether it's, like I said, kind of the linebacker play and the edge stuff. That would be super cool. That would be an awesome thing to follow. But, man, it would be cool to see this thing get back to being some DBU kind of stuff. And they have the pieces in place at both, it looks like safety's going to be coming through okay. Outside corner, they're young, but they're looking good. It's going to be exciting to watch and see unfold. And clearly Kobe Black, a giant piece of that. So big pickup today.
Longhorns now officially, let me double check this before I don't want to do that thing where I see someone else say it and then I don't check and I don't even remember who it was that I'm copying. Yes, Texas is officially now number 3 in the rivals.com rankings. They've jumped ahead of Florida State. They've got 2,054 points, whereas Florida State has 2,684. So Texas in the rivals ranking with a 70-point lead, only 21 commitments compared to Florida State. Alabama also a 21 in 5th place. Interesting that Texas and Alabama have the same number of commitments in the.
What if they flip Filsaime? How does that work? How many points will he give them?
See, I knew you were about to ask that, and I'm not exactly sure.
Okay,
but like a significant amount. Like, I don't know that it will be enough to track down Ohio State for number 2, but it may be enough to give them an insurmountable lead for number 3. And they're not done taking guys either. So if I'm not mistaken, this allowed Michael Kern to come out of the points equation, the kicker, right? So they've got a punter commitment in this class. The rivals rankings takes the top 20 guys in your class.
It calls them. It starts to call them at a certain number.
Yes.
Okay. So now let me ask you this: does it just say a Makuba or a Trey Moore or something like that pops? Do those guys count in this?
They don't, and I kind of wish they did.
Okay.
I like the idea of a combined portal / recruiting rankings combo, but Rivals certainly doesn't do that. I don't think anybody else does it, although I think it may be something that people start thinking about. I think Texas would like to take a few more high school guys beyond Filsaime, so we'll see what happens there. But he would be as a top 35 I think he's number 31 in the country. Eventually, there's a better chance that Filsaime, more so than Black, ends up being a 5-star, which is worth a lot of points. So that could really put them in a position Texas right now, the way I'm seeing it, there are 3 teams in America right now that have more than 2 5-stars. Georgia has 3, Ohio State has 3, Texas has 3. If Phil Sammy gets the bump up, because I think eventually they will give out 32 5-stars, and he's currently number 31. So he's going to be right there. They have a chance to get a 4th, which would at this point be the best in the country.
Well, that feels good. That feels good for these people to hear, man. Wow, man. Really? Put it like that, man. That starts to feel big time, dude.
Well,
right?
And look.
Hey, Catch, can I hop in real quick? Rivals does do the comprehensive team rankings with transfer and recruits. I just sent you the link to it. It was a recent update. Pretty cool.
Stuff I didn't even know about with my own network.
I mean, I was gonna say, Catch, if they're not doing that, everybody's gonna have to start doing that pretty soon with the portal becoming
real quick. So here are the Rivals super blue chips in this recruiting class. Okay, Simmons, Brandon Baker. By the way, did you see the film of him from this weekend?
No. I mean, I've seen his film, but I haven't seen it.
It was like on the field. Adam Gorney had video of him.
Oh no!
Like in pregame warmups.
Yeah,
and it was like, damn, he looked like the way you want your young tackles to look like. I'll send you the video. He just looked good off the hoof. That video of DeAndre Carter. Yeah.
Hey, well, I've written about this, Catch. It's like whenever you first had me watch Baker, I'm like, that left tackle's good too, but he sure don't move like the right tackle, right?
Look, Carter looks like he's been hanging out with me. Yeah, we both are on the same weight loss program. He needs to lose a few. He's got to reshape his body a little bit. If he goes to Auburn, he's those big old behemoths, but he's going to have some work to do. Whereas, I hate to say another man looks beautiful, but Brandon Baker kind of looks beautiful in pads. Like, he takes his shoulder pads off, and you're still like, oh, he's a mountain of a young offensive line prospect. He looks the part. Ryan Wingo is a super blue chip. Kobe Black is a super blue chip. If Xavier Philsamey commits, he's a super blue chip. I'm going to give you the guys ranked just underneath that as mid 4-star rankings, okay?
Okay.
What's going on in chat? What am I missing?
I just saw a little bit of a chat there, but it's something that Blake needs to maybe look up for us. But if you can you can get back to it. But Blake,
that's 6. Wait, what are we talking about? What's happening?
I don't know if it's true. So I want Blake to check on.
Where the hell is it in the general section?
Yeah.
Pete Thamel's reporting that Malik Murphy intends to enter the NCAA portal. He's alerted the Texas coaching staff of his decisions. It's okay, Alex. I reported that on Sunday.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, but you hold on Sunday. You said it's already done. Yes,
that I didn't know when he was going to announce, but that everybody's expectations were that he was going to enter the portal.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Is that your 10 thoughts?
Yeah, okay. It was one of like a million things I wrote, so it's easy, I think.
There's a good 10 thoughts if that one slipped by me. Catch it. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, but like now we got the national guys. It's like now it feels like, if Thamel's saying it, it feels like now it's out, like it's out in the wild.
I thought what I had heard was he was probably going to wait till after the bowl game because his intention is to play in the bowl game. Right. So not all the guys that have entered the portal, this is an intention to enter the portal. But again, everything that what we'd wondered with Malik is if you wait until the very end, are you going to get in a good spot if you wait until after the playoffs to actually enter the portal? So, yeah, I think that, again, my expectation would be based on I heard that he told the coaching staff this past weekend and that it was very emotional. Like, I get the sense that there were some tears, that it's not, he loves this team. They love him back. I think this was really hard on him, but I think obviously Quinn Ewers hasn't announced his intentions, but this gives you a pretty idea of what Malik Murphy thinks Quinn Ewers is going to do.
No, I mean, it tells you exactly what's happening. Cody's saying, I got to take the L. Cody's sad because I beat him at final takes every Friday. He wants me to finally take an L for something. I'm not taking it. Dude, I'm not. Here's the thing. I never said that. I just said what I still believe, which is that I think he'd be fine to leave after this year. I'm not sure he's like. I think he'd be.
You talking about Ewers?
Yes, and I still think it would be fine. But like, just because he's coming, I think it's fine if he comes back. You know,
I had somebody. I won't report this because people would go ape shit if I did. And it's just one person's opinion, but it's somebody that I have a healthy amount of respect for. I mean, hell, it's the person, one of the people that told me about Malik Murphy entering the portal.
Yeah.
And he made the comment about Ewers coming back, kind of like a snide comment where he said, it's no sure thing that he'll win the job next year.
Oh gosh. You don't want to put. That's something that you could say here on the Orange Bloods YouTube and hope it doesn't get back over to the board.
I was like, whoa, what a hot take that was.
Yeah, that's good.
It is a reminder, though, that they do have a guy named Manning waiting at some point to get on the field.
What is after that?
I didn't pass that along, Alex, because if I reported that.
Do you think Quinn might be rethinking his decision if he's got to come back and they say he's got to compete for a job?
Ours would be really good if we're at that point. We are not at that point, but it's a reminder that like there are people who are so invested in Arch.
Yeah,
talking about a guy that had a football card signed for and sell for over $100,000. Like people are into Arch. You got the New York Post writing transfer articles about kids, putting Arch's photo in the article just for the clickbait of it all. So just thought something you and I could share since nobody else is paying attention. Yeah. I could just say that and nobody will run over to Orange Bloods and say, did you know him? Somebody told Catch. I'm out of thoughts. Are you done? Can we sign off? Anything else?
I'm done.
No. Hold on. I was going to read you the names of the mid 4 stars. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I want you to tell me the guy from this group that you like the most and think should be ranked as like a super blue chip.
All right.
Christian Clark, running back out of Phoenix. Jarrett Gibson, the IMG running back. Daniel Cruz, the center from North Richland Hills, who I know you've written a lot about. Johnson Rebel, the DB, also out of IMG. Parker Livingston, the wide receiver, coming off of the knee injury. Aaron Hampton, we've talked about him, the athlete out of Dangerfield. Wardell Mack, the safety out of Louisiana. And I'm going to throw one more guy in there just because I love him and think he's completely underrated. Santana Wilson.
Well, I was going to say, man, if you don't mention Santana Wilson, I think those other guys are properly rated. I think Santana Wilson has you and I think we both just love the film. We love the intangibles. You love the fact that he's just lived a complete football life. It's all he does. It's all he eats. It's breathes, sleeps. That's another one of these guys that comes in, culture builder too. But it's like, you're not just taking these guys because they are the competitive dogs and the culture builders. And like, you're taking him because he's an extremely sick athlete with unbelievable bloodlines. He's got it in him. So I think that Daniel Cruz and these guys, I think that, man, Blake's so into Christian Clark. I'm a big Jarrett Gibson guy. I think either of those guys you could make the argument for, man. But dude, for my money, yeah, give me Santana Wilson. What, Adrian Wilson's kid? Like, yes. Come on, dude. Yes.
You and I both love Santana Wilson.
Yeah, dude.
Yes. We are inaugural stockholders. We aren't waiting in line. We're already in the clubhouse waiting for the meetings to begin for the Santana Wilson fan club.
Yeah,
we will be voting on who is, who are officers of the
treasurer, secretary, all that stuff.
We're going to have roles. Okay. We're in the meeting too early. I will join Blake in saying, I also love Christian Clark, and that guy makes me get out of a chair more so than the other guys who I think are all really good prospects. I also think properly rated. Christian Clark gives me the warm and fuzzies. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that shows up on campus and from day one, people are like, holy crap, this guy is awesome.
I think it could happen with either of them, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are my top two guys. I think honestly, Wilson would go ahead of Gibson for me. I love the kid. The only thing holding that kid back is he didn't do the camp circuit the way everybody else did. And not everybody's trying to get to Scottsdale, Arizona to see a kid in person.
Yeah.
When you're at that point in the rankings, companies have to choose, like, how many guys can we go see? And are there enough players to justify the move?
You got to do routing. You got to say, like, yeah, it's like if we stop at this school, are there any schools within, 15 miles or whatever we can stop at the, so,
exactly.
Yeah.
All they're doing when they go see the Scottsdale is playing a lot of golf. They'll probably go to the Jiggly Room, and there's one or two kids they can see. So it's hard to justify that. But I'm telling you, Alex and I both agree. It's funny. I was going to sneak him in to see what you said, and you were waiting to hear the name Santana Wilson. Okay, guys, that's it for us. This has been we turn it into a big old recruit. It's like a friends, football with friends. Recruiting jamboree is ultimately, I think, what it really was, Alex.
Yeah.
Instead of, it is the Kobe Black decision show, but it was also, I think, a really good conversation about the kids in this class, who we like, why we like them. I enjoyed it. Anything else? Anybody we need to give shout outs to?
Val Garcia. If you're in the DFW area, man, make sure and call my guy Val Garcia, dude. ValenRealty.com. So yeah, man. Look at Val Garcia. You gotta give Val Garcia a call. 469-647-8729. ValenRealty.com.
That's a smile of a man, Alex. Put that back up there, Blake. That's a smile of a man that just sold a home.
Yeah, no, that's a smile of a man who's in the chat right now who just named Kobe Black, dude. That's the smile of that man for sure.
Give Val a call. It's that simple. Take advantage of that smile. Scan that QR code. For myself, for Alex, for Jason, for Adam Gorney, for Blake, who's the super producer, and made sure we had video today of Kobe Black and all of the graphics and stuff we need. Guys, one last time. Hit that. Don't make us play the old Alex clip where he screams at you. Sign up, get a subscription to the page. It's free. Think of it like a OnlyFans page. It's free. We're never going to charge you, and we'll always give you the good stuff. Unlike, subscribe to the page, notifications. It's that simple. Until tomorrow. Actually, Outsiders tonight. They'll be reacting to the SEC schedule, which will be released in 32 minutes. Until next time, we'll have House Divided tomorrow. We'll have Football with Friends back to its regularly scheduled program. We'll have a full Thursday on Orange Bloods Live, as you would expect. Oh, by the way, it's a war room. So in the next 24 hours, it just keeps cranking. Alex, thank you very much for helping us get through Kobe Black Day. Have a good rest of the night, my man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, and by the way, I did look at the fantasy football matchups. I think you were right to feel blessed to have avoided the Sweaty Ball Express.
I'm good. I'm good, bro. Yeah.
Guys, have a great night. We'll see you.